For decades, California Superior Court Judge James P. Gray has fought to end the injustices of modern-day drug prohibition. But recently, the citizens of California made history by voting for the total legalization of marijuana. Weed Court is now in session. Tina Cannon is suing caretaker T. Rodgers in the case of the backyard boogie.
All rise. The Honorable James P. Gray presiding. Weed Court is now in session.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Weed Court. Please be seated. May you introduce yourselves, please, and will you tell us quickly what this case is about? Your name is?
Tina Cannon.
Cannon.
I recently bought a zip from Mr. Rodgers. He's normally my caregiver, and it gave me an allergic reaction. So I'm just seeking.
You are on the medical marijuana program?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have a card?
Yes, sir.
Valid? Will you show it to my bailiff, please, who will show it to me? So, Mr.
Thank you.
Rodgers, did you in fact furnish her some marijuana?
Yes, I did, Your Honor. She's been my patient for about 2.5 years now with no complaints.
You're a caregiver?
Yes, I am, sir. Here's my card.
All right, please. You did in fact receive marijuana from Mr. Rodgers, and he is your caretaker?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, tell me what happened, please, Ms. Cannon.
We met up, and I needed it for migraines and anxiety. So I was under a lot of stress, and I was kind of hoping to take off the edge. And what I got was hives, rash, and hospital visits.
All right, and as a result of that, what happened to you?
I had to end up paying for the ambulance ride, some meds, and I missed a few days of work.
Can you tell me how much you paid for each of those things and how much you lost for wages?
The hospital visit was $500, the meds was $250, and I missed 2 days of work, which is about $1,500.
How much?
$1,500.
$1,500. Why do you believe that it is Mr. Rodgers' fault if he in fact gave you some marijuana that was causing you these difficulties?
I normally purchase from him OG Kush, but what he gave me this time looked more like backyard boogie, so it wasn't really up to the standard that we're used to. And as an effect, it gave me a rash.
Gave you a rash?
Yes, I was allergic to whatever, either the chemicals in it or something in the handling of whatever he gave me.
Okay. Mr. Rodgers, do you have any claim against Ms. Cannon at all or not?
Well, defamation, I've been in the business for years, and I pride myself on what I do.
Okay.
Almost to the point of being a perfectionist, or anal, so to speak. But I love what I do. So, yeah, I'm suing her for defamation of character and
okay. Let me tell you just from the beginning that bringing charges against somebody does not give rise to a defamation suit. We're entitled as citizens to do that. You could have a suit against her for wrongful prosecution, but you would have to have won this case first and then bring it thereafter. So as to that, you're not going to be successful. Tell me, did you in fact supply marijuana to Ms. Cannon under these circumstances?
Yes, sir.
Where did you get it?
I got it from a Pacific grower supplier that I have, which I'd like to keep anonymous at this point.
Okay.
But it's in Northern California. It's local.
Okay. Is this the same supplier that you've always used, or was this somebody new?
This is the same supplier. And when I got this particular batch, so to speak, it did look a little different. I have to attest to that. It did look a little different. However, he assured me it was the same quantity and quality that I always get from him.
All right. Well, it happens in Weed Court that we actually have Tanya Labs, and as I understand it, you provided a sample of this for analysis. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Diane, do you have a copy of the return from Tanya Labs? I feel like we're in the Academy Awards. The envelope, please. So this Blue Dream weed, Blue Dream, came out at a THC level of 9% with a total CBD of 0.04%. Mr. Rodgers, that is, even in my understanding, really rather inferior stuff. Do you have an explanation for that?
Well, Your Honor, she told me that she didn't have anything else left and actually demanded her money back, plus she wanted something for her ailments, which I don't see any right now, but she looks actually kind of good. Yeah.
Ms. Cannon, you look pretty good to me. How long ago did this happen?
It's about a week ago, Your Honor.
About a week ago, and you've rebounded really well?
I still have hives on my arms and on my back from the allergic reaction.
Okay. Anything further to say, Mr. Rodgers?
It's just that at that particular point, I mean, a couple of days ago, she said she didn't have anything, and she wanted the money back, but she also wanted me to give her something for her pain and ailments, and so I don't understand when she had anything to give the courts.
Mr. Rodgers, you are a good man if you are, in effect, a caretaker, and I admire that as a profession, as an activity. You also have an obligation to do the best you can to make sure that what you are providing to your patient, your assistant here, is of a reasonable quality. When you told me that it looked different, that causes me a problem. And so you may very well have an action against this as yet unnamed supplier, whom I'm assuming is legal. If he's not legal, then you're not going to be able to sue him, because it has to be legal involvement to be in weed court. But as the circumstances, I'm concerned about the hospital. You say it was $500. You say that your medications were about $250. Do you have any documentation of any of that?
I've given the court all the information that I have.
I didn't hear you.
No.
No. All right. Were you taken away in an ambulance in some fashion?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you see that, Mr. Rodgers?
Well, but Your Honor, she called me for everything else. She could have called me for a ride.
Well, okay, that may be true. And as far as your work, you earned $750 a day?
Yes, sir.
For
I'm
2 days?
a seamstress.
Say again?
A seamstress. I sew clothes.
Okay. I do believe, under these circumstances, Mr. Rodgers, that you fell below the standard of care for someone supplying a potentially harmful good. Since it looked different, since it seemed to be different, I think that you had an obligation to check it out and to make sure that it wasn't inferior quality. I am not convinced as to the amount of damages, Ms. Cannon. I'm sorry. You have a burden of proof to give that, and it's not really very strong. I will order that a judgment be ordered against Mr. Rodgers in favor of Ms. Cannon in the amount of $700, and that is the order. Good luck.
Your Honor, can I sue the guy that sold it to me? You called me for everything else, but you didn't call me for, and now you're over there smiling. So that decision that was rendered, I can live with it. However, I will go after my supplier.
I didn't get everything I was looking for, but I didn't totally lose out on everything that I'd already spent. So I'm satisfied.